Alright, also look, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video, we're going to be discussing this weekend's main event, featuring Kamaru, the Nigerian Nightmare Usman, versus Joaquin Buckley, and going over my picks as well as my prediction on how I think this fight will most likely play out. And so, with that being said, without further ado, let's get right in to the video. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share so you can help me reach 3,000 subscribers by May. I'll deeply appreciate you. And make sure you join the official UFC Discord, link in the description. Alright, so look. This weekend, the UFC returns to Atlanta, Georgia with a main event that, kind of feels like a crossroads. And, not just for the welterweight division, but for Kamaru Usman's legacy as a whole, honestly. And you see, a lot of fans are counting him out going into this fight with Joaquin Buckley. And honestly, it's absolutely wild how fast people forget. And, look, yes, I get it. Marty's on a 3-fight losing streak, and yes, he's been out of action for nearly 2 years, but we cannot forget that context matters. Because those 3 losses, a last-minute Hail Mary fluke head kick KO from Leon Edwards after Marty dominated nearly 5 full rounds. And then a razor-close decision to Leon in the trilogy where Edwards repeatedly cage-grabbed and used fouls to gain small advantages throughout the entire fight. And then finally, a split decision loss to Khamzat Boars Chimaev, a fight that many thought Marty actually won, despite taking it on an 8-day short notice and fighting up a weight class against one of the scariest prospects in the sport. I mean, Usman didn't get outclassed in either one of those. He got edged, and there's a massive difference. And now he returns against a red-hot Joaquin Buckley, who's been tearing through the division with highlight reel finishes back to back. And, on paper, Buckley's the younger, more explosive, and frankly more athletic guy at this point. But let's slow down real quick, because when we're looking at this fight from an analytical standpoint, Buckley's successes have come when he's able to pressure, explode forward, and fight on his terms. But with that being said, Marty Fake Newsman's a to-the-T, tailor-made matchup in order to defuse a kind of fighter like Joaquin Buckley. I mean, he's got one of the best jabs in the game. A piston-like weapon that disrupts your rhythm, controls the distance, and sets up that straight right that sent world-class fighters right into the shadow realm. And in my honest opinion, I think that's going to be a major problem for Buckley going into this fight. Someone who struggles when he's forced into a fight from the outside when he isn't able to dictate the pace. I mean, fighters like a Chris Curtis have already exposed stuff like that. Simple 1-2s, disciplined movement, and Buckley starts to unravel. And while you might be like, how's Marty supposed to move when he's got no knees? Well, yeah, while Marty's basically got chicken cartilage for kneecaps, those knees have been cooked for years. And, he's won championships with those same knees. Not to mention, he's still got his sharp technical boxing, his elite world-class fight IQ, and nuclear power in his hands. But with all that being said, let's look a little deeper into Joaquin Numanez's game. And, there's no doubt that he's found his groove since moving back down to welterweight. I mean, his explosiveness, his timing, and improved patience have earned him big wins such as, a Vicente Luque, a Nursultan Ruziboyev, a Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, and yes, while it does hurt to admit, a Colby Chaos Covington. But you see, stylistically, he still relies heavily on those big movements. I mean, he explodes in bursts, throws looping hooks, and, he tries to catch his opponent slipping. And, it works beautifully when he's got the space to move forward against opponents who give him that respect to build momentum. But against someone like the Nigerian Nightmare, who thrives on rhythm disruption and pressure with fundamentals, those windows kind of start to close pretty quickly. And, while Marty's jab isn't flashy, it's surgical. It breaks rhythm, frustrates aggression, and keeps opponents from getting comfortable. And for all of Buckley's power or whatnot, his stock selection becomes super predictable over time, especially if, he starts to feel that he's behind on the scorecards. But another key aspect people tend to forget is that while Marty doesn't necessarily need to take Buckley down in order to win, he can always mix in his wrestling in order to change up the tempo. And even with his disintegrated knees or whatnot, his clinch work, his cage pressure, as well as his ability to sap the energy from explosive fighters is still elite. That's what made him such a dominant champion in the first place. Not the takedowns, but when and how he used them. And yeah, while Buckley's takedown defense has improved significantly since moving to the welterweight division, he hasn't faced anyone with Marty's level of control as well as patience. And if Kamaru Usman can get Buckley against the cage or drag him into the later rounds, then I think that's where Numance's explosiveness starts to fade. And, that's where Usman starts to shine. But then again, I'm not expecting Marty to go out there and start shooting for desperate takedowns. I expect him to control the range, touch up and pepper Buckley with that world-class jab, and frustrate him as the fight progresses. And yeah, Buckley will land a few big shots. He always does. But unless he's able to clip Usman clean and clip him early, then I think he's in for a long, frustrating night. We cannot forget that Kamaru Usman's experience, his discipline, as well as all of his tools and skills are still there at 38 years of age. And this time, he's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder. Everyone, and when I say everyone, I mean everyone, is doubting Kamaru Usman against Joaquin Numance. Everyone's acting like he's washed or something. Those 3 losses that he's got weren't against former champions or #1 contenders. But this isn't a veteran that we're talking about. This isn't just any type of regular schmegular veteran. This is Kamaru, the Nigerian Nightmare Usman, the former pound-for-pound king, as well as one of the greatest welterweights of all time. And I think he proves that once again this weekend by getting the job done in emphatic comeback-like fashion. That is why I've got Marty, fake newsman, Marty from Nebraska, Kamaru, the Nigerian Nightmare Usman, by either late 4th round TKO or unanimous decision victory against Joaquin Numance Buckley. But that's all I've got to say for this video. Let me know in the comment section below, who do you guys have for this weekend's main event between Kamaru, the Nigerian Nightmare Usman, and Joaquin Numance Buckley? Who do you guys have? Kamaru or Joaquin? Let me know in the comment section below. But that about wraps up the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.
Such